Welcome to the journey of an awakening spirit with your host, Kathleen Flanagan. The journey of an awakening spirit is about teaching you a variety of tools that you can use to step into your true self. It is about self-discovery, realizing you are not alone on your journey. We will open the phone lines, give readings, and talk about what our listeners want to know. So please welcome the host of the journey of an awakening spirit, Kathleen Flanagan.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we are streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. And today, this is Felix. As we all know, he has to make his appearance for whatever reason. But today we have Anmol Singh, who's going to be talking about the 10 success keys for making it in life. But first, I'm going to open the show with the tuning forks of love, happiness, and balance. Well, Anmol is considered the leading expert in the trading psychology space, having helped thousands of traders all over the world dealing with psychological and behavioral issues that arise when high stakes are on the line. He brings a unique view of success and shows how the same concepts that he has used to help million-dollar traders are applicable to our day-to-day lives, irrespective of the industry or career they are in. So welcome, Anmol.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to chatting with you.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty excited about just what you've done. I mean, you've created the 10 success keys to help everyone, and with your background is pretty amazing. But I know that this was a journey that you had to come through, because it sounds like you've had not a really deep calling as far as like tragedy or anything like that in your life. But what brought you to decide to write the book when you have been so successful in other areas of your life?
So I've been on my own personal journey of, bettering myself or trying to become my full potential. And there's always something I felt like something was missing in my life. Something was lacking. So it was like a whole journey of trying to figure that out, what that might be, or where are my blind spots. So it was a journey that I embarked on. And, over the course of the years, I've hired, many mentors, coaches, attended seminars, workshops, spiritual retreats, going out to different parts of the world to really find who I really was. Never felt like I really fit in. So it was a whole journey. So I learned a lot of things in that journey that have helped me in my own life get, the success that I have, as well as just feeling better about where your life's headed. So a lot of the things that I learned, and I realized that, not everybody has the time or the money to do what I did to figure that stuff out. So the book was an inspiration for me to, okay, if I could just put all of what I've learned, just into a small 10 keys that people can start applying into their day-to-day life. That was kind of the inspiration for the book.
Okay. So did this come just basically from trading with people? Were there common elements that you observed in high stakes in the financial world? Because I know that in the financial industry, there's a lot more that's involved than, because when you're dealing with money, especially millions of dollars, there's a mindset there. There's a lot of other issues. You're holding a lot of energy too. And then and I also am aware that it's a very competitive industry as well. So did your journey in the financial industry bring some of this about to understand that there's commonalities if you're poor or rich or somewhere in between these two places?
So the difference I noticed was people who were struggling or they were having these kind of issues were primarily because of lack of integrity. And I'll touch upon that in a minute. But the research was done that trading releases the same hormones of dopamine and serotonin, the same ones that you get when you're gambling or you're doing illicit drugs, or if you're having sex. The same hormones are released for traders. Now the difference is, that we're getting every single day, every single few hours, rather than once in a while like most people. We're getting that every single day. Learning how to control those spikes in your emotions and your hormones is key. And what I noticed was there was a lack of integrity in the finance industry, meaning not the type of integrity that most people might think, but keeping your own word to yourself, right? You say you're going to do something and then you don't follow through on it, right? So if your trading plan, let's say, or your business plan for traders says, okay, let's do this, but then you do the opposite, or the stock is going against you, rather than getting out and taking a small loss, you hope it comes back up, right? Because we're all taught buy and hold approach, but most people end up doing buy and hope. And hope is not a strategy. So I realized that a lot of people weren't, they're saying they're going to do something, but they weren't following through. And that lack of integrity is kind of the main point that I talk about in my book as well, is do what you said you're going to do, and then do it when you said you're going to do it. Right? I mean, just think about how much our quality of life would be better if we did every single thing we said we're going to do, and we completed it when we said we're going to do it. Like, we would have an ideal life. So I think that is what I noticed is people weren't paying attention to the words that are coming out of their mouth. They thought it's just words, but no, your words are everything. So what you say to yourself, how you talk to yourself, as well as following through on your own word, is absolute paramount. Because if you don't believe in your word, how do you expect your clients to believe in you? How do you expect your customers to believe in you? How do you expect anybody, the universe, to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself?
That is so right on and so key. I discovered I've discovered that over the years is all you have is your word. That's all you have. Because if you don't have your word and you start proving that if you're going to be late for something, call them. Just call the person and say, I'm running late. And that just keeps you in integrity. So even if you've fallen behind, at least they know that you're trustworthy, you're valuing their time, you respect them enough to show consideration. And I think that's really important as far as just being an overall human being in general. And that is not something that you see a lot in the world anymore. It's just like, well, I'll get there when I get there. And it's like, but you don't understand. Your attitude like that means I'm not going to use you. You don't show up for a call, you don't get to be on my show. It's like it's that simple. This is not a negotiated system here. And so I understand that. So in the
Yeah.
book, do you have it like set up like in an outline, like you start out with this, like a study course, or is it just 10 different principles that you want to go towards what you think as you yourself need to improve on? Or just tell me a little bit more about your book and, the steps and what you think is valuable that people
Yeah,
would get.
definitely. Yeah, but before what you just said, I think it's absolutely true. If somebody's, having a lack of integrity, or maybe they said they're going to do something or show up on time and they don't, the worst thing people can do is apologize for it. Because what this says, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it again. No, you are going to do it again, right? So sorry doesn't mean anything. So what you have to do is put things in place to ensure it doesn't happen again. So that way you show up as yourself, as your word all the time. So that was just wanted to touch upon what you just said there. But as far as the book is written very informally. It's literally written like I'm having a conversation with myself or with you, the reader. And it's laid out in a very simple format. It's a very short book. Somebody could read it in a day if they really spend a few hours on it. And every chapter ends with, before you move on to this next chapter, you got to do these three things. Right? Because last thing I want is for this to be another book that you've read. You say, oh, it's a great book, and you don't do anything about it. You
Right.
don't take action, right? It's just one of those books sitting in your library. So I want people to actually apply the material. So before they move on to the next chapter, every chapter ends with, here's the three things. Here's a big task, a challenge for yourself. Do that before you move on to the next chapter, because you don't truly know something until you can apply it in your life. And it shows, your life demonstrates the evidence of you applying it. Otherwise, it's not knowledge. What most people think it's knowledge, it's not knowledge. It's just information. So
Right.
it's just organized information. So you don't want more information. What you want is true knowledge. And that's kind of what the book helps you do, is every chapter, it will end with tasks for you to do.
So do you have like a Facebook page or anything like that for people to like work together or connect with each other? Because a lot of times when we're doing this kind of internal work, it's nice to know that other people are out there and you can just talk to about it. Or is it pretty independent? I mean, just tell me a little bit more about how how you really structured this for people, because yeah, like you said, I could go buy the book, say, yeah, I did this, and then put it down because I didn't apply all the principles, or I got a little confused about a step, or something came up and I didn't really know how to approach it sometimes, or it was a little too deep that I didn't want to face, say, so to speak, that, I was like, I don't think I want to deal with that one today or ever.
Yeah, so we have like a community at livetraders.com. We have a community of traders. We all hang out in like a chat room, and we're all supporting each other. And I go live there every single day, Monday to Friday, for like an hour, so I can show people my own trading as well. So then they can kind of see me. Okay, Anmol's, let's say, losing money, and it's live. I can't even hide it. Everything is in front of people. So I like that pressure, because what that does to me is it also shows the viewer that, hey, look at how he's handling himself. Even if he's losing, even if he's winning, he's not getting too excited about it. I'm very calm when it comes to trading, so I show that in real time. But then, as you said, some people obviously have something deeper they want to touch into. Usually I do one-on-ones at that time, but not something that I really promote or try to do. But for clients that are achieving the success but they're kind of stuck somewhere, usually those are the people I work with, not typically people just starting out.
Okay, well, that makes sense. So, why don't you share a little bit about some of the top 10 success stories or keys that you're talking about?
Yeah, definitely. So one we touched upon was integrity, right? I think that's the paramount, most important one, because without that, nothing else will work, right? If you don't follow through on your word. So that's number one. And the second thing we also covered was like, if you have a break in integrity, I don't call it lack of integrity. I call it break in integrity, where maybe we all sometimes say we're going to do something and we fall off. But now we got to put things in place to ensure it doesn't happen again. So I'll give you my own example. I was struggling for a long time from working out. I was living the business dream, making the money, traveling a lot, wasn't working out at all. I kind of let my health go. And I kept saying to myself, oh, I'll start from Monday. And then, Monday comes, and then, it's the 28th of the month. So you're like, oh, I'll start from the first. And then the first comes, but it's November. So I'll start from January, right? First Jan. And I kept doing that. I said to myself so many times, and I realized that's a lack of integrity. That is a pure lack of integrity. And I said, well, that's not something I'm going to stand for. So what I did is, rather than apologizing for it or putting in a new deadline, which I'm going to miss again, I said, all right, what can I do to put things in place to ensure it doesn't happen again? So I hired a trainer. His job is to come every single day at 12 p.m., fixed timing. Every day he'll come. Now he's already here. So I have to work out. I have to keep my word to him as well, that I'll work out with him. So that way I can work out every day. And then I noticed that, but I'm still eating not that great. So how can I fix that? So then I got a chef. His job is to come every Sunday, meal prep for me in these boxes, and he puts it and stores it for me. So now I put things in place to ensure that there's never going to be that issue that I'm neglecting my health again. So for your own life, if somebody's running late to a meeting or something else, they're missing a deadline, just like you said earlier, first inform the person that it's going to be late, and you should inform that person right then and there. Not wait till the last minute. The moment you notice you're not going to be able to make it, that very moment, you pick up the call and you let them know, and then you either reschedule, or do you want to do that, and then put it in your calendar. This is the time I'm going to do this at, so you don't miss it again. Because one time somebody can forgive you. If you do it again, they're not going to forgive you, and they always remember that. So those are some of the other things. The third thing that I noticed, which is the biggest thing, and I was guilty of that too, is you're buying a ton of books, you're buying a ton of courses, seminars, you have all this information, at your doorstep, and you're not applying any of that. You're just stuck in what I call the learning loop. You're learning, and it comes from a place of lack. You think you're missing something. I need more information. I need to learn something new. Maybe I'll listen to this podcast. And what happens is, when people jump from one podcast to another podcast, one book to another book, and at the end of the month, they're like, yeah, I've read 20 books. I'm like, but your life doesn't show any evidence of you applying what you just learned. So clearly you don't know it. So the thing is to get your head out of being stuck in a learning loop and start applying things, taking action, right? So if you read one page, I'd rather somebody read one page of any of their favorite book and apply that before they move on to the next page. So having that mindset is absolute key to anything in life, because you could have dinner with the richest person on the earth. If he tells you to do something and you just move on, you don't take action on it, your life's not really going to improve. So you have to take action. I know we all know this inside, but we still, in our some part of our life, we're not taking action that we know we should be. So that is number one key. So integrity, keeping your word, putting things in place to ensure you don't do it again, And a third thing, take action. Stop getting stuck in the learning cycle. It's not more information you need; it's more execution is what you really need. So those are just some of the 3 keys out of the many that I covered in the book.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and take a commercial break, so we'll see you all back in just a few minutes.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to easysense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's easysense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. This is The Journey of an Awakening Spirit, and I am your host, Kathleen Flanagan, and we are streaming on the Bold Brave TV. And I am here with Anmol Singh, and we are talking about the 10 keys, success keys that you can use in your life. So when you talk about those 3, and they're key because it's like the 4 agreements is what you're talking about, because we really do have to start. We do have to have a base. And what if somebody has, just say they're not really that integrous, and I know you can get into integrity very quickly, but when this is new to somebody, are you telling them like what they can do to get to that place to where they can start? I mean, what kind of simple steps are you talking about for people to implement? Because I know that I've been on this journey since I was 16 years old. So I've gone down this personal growth and development world for a very long time. And I'm focusing in and dialing in on one specific area of an area that I didn't even realize, as far as that we do have a core limiting belief, and that we need that higher power to help us through that. But we also have to start at the beginning of just starting to be a better human being. So because I'm reading more advanced books and I'm taking those principles and I'm applying them. So it's not like how fast can I read the book and put it down and get to the next one? I'm studying the books really taking them in a level that I've never taken them in before. But for somebody who's new, when I was at the beginning, I just read stuff and took in the knowledge and then worked on formulating an opinion, but never really had like, do this or do this or do this. I kind of learned some of this the hard way in life.
Yeah, I think, it'll start off. By the way, what you're doing is exactly what most people should be doing. They should be studying a book. Most people read a book, right? Reading a book is not going to get you the result. You have to study it. You have to look into it, right? Look up the meanings of some of the words you don't understand, because there might be completely different meaning. It might change the whole sentence, the meaning of the whole sentence. One word you didn't understand. So I think that's absolutely crucial. But so first, it'll start off with, take an inventory of your life. And I think most people don't ever take the time to sit with themselves, right? To like really just sit with themselves, no phone, no nothing, and just ponder a little bit, right? Pondering is great. So you have to ponder and think about, take an inventory. What is something I say to myself over and over that I haven't done yet? What is something that I said that I'll do it that I didn't follow through on? What is something that I actually want to do? Like, I want this in my life, but I'm not making any progress towards it. I'm not taking any action towards it. The first thing is taking inventory, right? And taking inventory also mean asking people closest around you, because sometimes they'll give you insights that you might not have, right?
Very
Your
true.
blind spots, the blind spots, we all have them, right? So you ask your friend, and your friend looks at your life completely differently, and he might say, you know what, there's this, you keep saying you're going to do this. I heard you're going to start this new thing. What happened? Like, it's been 6 months already. You haven't done anything on it. So asking the closest people around you on, how am I coming across to you? What's my like? How do you perceive me? Right? Just talk to me. How do you perceive me? What do I come across? If you were to describe me to somebody who never met me, what would you tell them about me? So, like, that is where you're going to learn a lot about yourself, in just sitting with yourself, taking some time out every day. Now that you've made that inventory, the second step is, okay, put things in place to ensure you achieve those goals. And the way you do that is by scheduling it, right? Jordan Peterson, I think, talks about it, is like, living your ideal day. So if you said to somebody, what does your ideal day look like? And they write all the thing down. Ideal day would be when I complete my workout, I do this on the thing, I meet my friends, I go hiking, I play golf. This is my ideal day. Great. Now you've got all those items. Now let's schedule that. Let's assign time slots to each of those things. Because this research was done. Like, most people, it's not that they don't know what they need to do. All of us, we know exactly what we need to do. We just don't have the accountability or the systems in place to take action on it. So it starts with scheduling and assigning time slots. Like, I literally have an assistant of mine that I've never met him. His only job is to call me at Monday at 2 p.m. and say, all right, what are the 3 things we're working on this week? I'm like, what are the 3 big needle moving things in our business? And I'm brainstorming and I'm just talking to him like, yeah, I could do this. I could do this. He's like, okay, great. We got these 3 things down. When are we doing it? I'm like, all right, maybe Wednesday I could do it. Great. What time? Right? Oh, 3. How much time is it going to take you? Okay. He allocates an hour block. That's his only job. So, that is what people need to do with themselves. Now, you don't need to go and hire somebody, right? You could do it yourself, right? Do it yourself. Put it on your calendar. Assign time slots to each of those goals. Otherwise, it's a dream. Right? Otherwise, it's a dream. It's just a daydream you're having. You're not going to do anything about it. 5 years later, you're going to look back and say, oh, I didn't do anything. I wish I did that. So the only way you can do it is assigning time slots to it. And then when it's that time slot for that particular task, that's that time slot for that task. Don't look at your emails. Don't answer your phone calls. Don't look at social media. Complete that task. Then if you live very disciplined life like this, you're going to achieve your goals. It's just a matter of time. So I think those couple of things people start implementing, it's going to change. It's going to be a game changer for you.
Yeah, sounds like Mary Morrissey's programs with the Life Mastery, because I was in her program for a year on just, and that's a lot what she talks about is, what is it that you want? Where do you want to go? What's important? And you categorize everything that's really important with you. So that way you're not hodgepodging and you're all over the place. And then you think, why is nothing getting done? So that's something that I learned, was doing that and showing the gratitude, coming up in the mornings, waking up. What do I want to accomplish today? Where am I? What's on my calendar? And then being grateful. And what is the needle moving? Because that was a big thing, is what's the needle moving that you're doing, and when are you going to do it, and at what time? And I was being held accountable for that. And I mean, it was a good thing. I didn't mind it, but there was also this little bit of haven't done it yet, kind of thing sometimes, because that was me. It was like, because sometimes life still does happen. But that doesn't mean if it happens, it's like, okay, well, then just move it on your calendar, because this situation came up that you have to address now. So move it. You're still integrity. You haven't changed it. You haven't done it. It's not you haven't done it. You just haven't done it yet. So stay in integrity and just move it and get it done. And I found that to be very effective and really productive. I was pretty amazed at how much better I felt about myself. I didn't feel as scattered, because I felt like I was more dialed in, because part of the dream building and accomplishing your goals is dialing in. And what is that baby step you can take for the day? Because sometimes we don't know. And I know that when you said that about the pondering, that is so key. And I think about the last week of August, all the men in my life were out of town. It was great. And I spent an entire week with myself, studying, taking a course, and dialing in on who am I, what is it that I want, what are my core values, and how am I going to bring those out in the world. game changer. It was a game changer because I never really took the time to look at, well, who am I really? What are my strong core beliefs? How am I living my life? How am I bringing this into my business? And it was made like decision making. Somebody said, that your decisions become a lot easier. So if people are doing something and instead of being in this wishy-washy, well, maybe it's just a one-time thing. No, it wasn't. It's who they are, it's how they operate. Because it's like, if you're not in integrity with what my core belief is, that means that's not your core belief, and we're never going to see eye to eye, and it'll always be a conflict. So it was like a real game changer when I stopped long enough to do that. And that again is how I started decided it was time to bring guests on the show, because it was like, I know what I want on my show, because even though I've been on doing this since May, I've always wanted to bring the guests on, but it was like I had to get in touch with me so I knew the right people to bring on the show. And I feel very blessed because of that, the quality of people that have reached out to be on the show and that are coming out like yourself. I mean, I just tell people, I said, I am meeting the most amazing people, because they are, of just what they're doing in their life. And it's all walks of life. It's not just like you're in trading and I'm in spiritual development. It's all walks of life where everybody has had amazing stories and have overcome and have brought their true essence out, because that's what this life is about. Is your gift is trading, but you also have these amazing tools that, because you had this angst inside of you, to bring it out, to say, okay, this is who I am. This is like whatever this core value is, whatever this limiting belief is, you went in, you dived in, and you made that your gift to the world. And I think that's what's so beautiful about this. So talking about this, I mean, you're just so right on the money. And some people don't have money to do this. So that's why start out until you do have the money. At least do something to give yourself that pat on the back, because it all comes, it's build one brick at a time, to build that worthiness, to build that integrity, to build the truth about yourself, whatever it is. It's always a process.
Yeah.
Technology is not a process, but we
Right. And
are.
and I think it's not like a lack of, sometimes people say I have a lack of resources or money. You don't lack resources, you lack resourcefulness, right? Like, I mean, I came from India, so I came to New York without knowing anybody here. So, and if you're born in this country, you are way ahead of where I was, right? So it's not the lack of resources, it's resourcefulness. So when I got here, the first thing I did was just contact, who can I get in touch, who can I meet, right? Who can I touch bases with, who can I meet, who can I take for coffee, and just learning, like, be a sponge absorbing it. But then when you go home, not just, moving on to the next information. Like, I sat down and I applied. Like, even you were talking about values, I keep my top 5 values written down here in a post-it note. It's right in front of my
Yep.
desk. So, like, my top 5 values, first one's living with integrity and morality. The second is loving relationships, success, controlling my own thoughts, health and fitness. So, I keep that center of my stages, these little post-it notes, just the sayings for myself. And one of them says, all the power that ever was or will be is here right now. There's no part of me that is not God. So, like,
Yep.
having these sayings to yourself is really important, because that's what affirmations really are, right? It's not really repeating it to yourself all the time, but it's also what's in your environment all the time. What are you looking at all the time? What are you absorbing all the time unconsciously? So I try to keep these little trinkets, around my house. So anytime I look somewhere, there's a burst of positivity or a burst bringing me back to my core self. So I think knowing your values is really good, because it helps you in your decision making in life. Like, I'm really decisive. Somebody asks me a question, I don't need to think yes or no, maybe. I'm like, is it aligning with my values? Okay, great. Yes, let's do it. If it's not aligning with my values, it's a hard no, no matter how great the opportunity might be. So I think knowing your values makes you really confident and decisive, because and if you don't believe in it, then those are not your values. You might need to do some
Mhm.
deep thinking there. And that too comes with pondering, with sitting with yourself and saying, is this more important or is that more important? Right. And then, is this more important or that more important? You keep doing that exercise till you come with your top 5 values.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I totally agree with that. It's a huge game changer. And even though I know that I've always come from integrity and that I am taking personal responsibility, those are two of mine at this point. Well, I have more, but those were things that I just always knew about myself. but I never thought to write them down and look at them, because I do, like you say, I have stuff on my desk. I have like the 4 agreements on my desk. I have little quotes on my desk. And there was a point that I had a vision board, and even if I wasn't really paying attention to the vision board, it was amazing how many things came to pass, because I would just glance at it and it just absorbed into my subconscious mind to where I generated the goal to be achieved. Well, we're going to take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors, and we will continue this as soon as we get back.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality? But it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating. Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like, it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we are on the journey of an awakening spirit, and we are talking with Anmol Singh about the 10 success keys that you can use in your life every day. So, Anmol, I want to ask you, when did you come to America, and what was that like? Because I know it's a totally different experience than India, coming to, especially New York, because that is such a fast-paced town. I've been there once and I was blown away by it. It was an amazing city to be in for the short period that I was there. It was exciting. But to do that, because I know that for me, I've always been afraid of people. I just learned not to trust people. And that was my past. And I have a partner who everybody loves. And it's like, what do you do? How do you get people to love you like that? And he's just such a cool guy. He just is. And I just watched that. And I'm learning to come out of my own fear, but to do what you did, I don't think I could have ever done that. I would have probably found a corner and slowly worked my way out. But to do that, tell me about what that was like coming to New York from India, and how you just adapted and became so Americanized so quickly, it seems like.
Yeah, I always wanted to go to America. Like you were talking about vision boards. So that's kind of what I had on my vision board in India. So I had a little board. I had like images of skyscrapers and, typical thing a guy would want, right? Skyscrapers, cars, all of that. It was always in my vision board, and I would keep it above my computer desk, which at that time, growing up, I probably used for just video games, and now it's trading. So it's kind of the same life. I just switched the video games over to trading. I'm still on my computer though. So I think life is funny how things play out. But first I moved to London. So I lived there for about 4 or 5 years, because to come to America, the right way, the legal way, you have to invest a lot of money. You have to create employment and jobs, or somebody hires you. But I wasn't working for a job. I wanted to start my own thing. So first I went to London. I lived there from 2010 to 2015, for 5 years, working there, studying there. And then when I finally had enough money saved up in 2015, and then I finally moved to America. because I had to invest well over, a couple $1 million just to come to the country, and I had to
Wow.
hire 10 people, create employment. It's crazy the world is right now, because now you could just cross the border and come like more people,
I know,
and I
right?
had to, yeah, and I had to go through all of this, money, time, legal fees, paperwork to try to come the right way to be a productive person in the society. So that was kind of the whole journey. In the beginning, it was very daunting. And I was in my corner. I wasn't living in Manhattan City right now. I started off living in Long Island, in the suburbs. My view from my window was like a gas station at that time, or a train station, and so wasn't like this all the time. So I lived there, but I realized that I'm gonna sacrifice a little bit. I'm gonna just live like I'm broke for a few years until I get my business up and running. So that was my only focus, was just, I'm gonna get this business up and running. I've burned all the boats. There's no plan B. I'm here. I've put all this money that I saved up. There's no plan B. There's no turning back. And I think that is a very powerful thing I also talk about in my book. Is a lot of people think about plan A, plan B, plan C, and they're strategizing in their head. They're thinking about all these plans. I'm thinking about, how do I make this plan work? Somehow there's got to be a way. Maybe if this is not this way, it's got to be that way, but this will work. So I think that's another thing I talk about in the book, is having persistence. And the persistence really only comes if you genuinely are curious about what you're doing. Like for me, trading and investing, running a business is something I'm passionate about. It doesn't feel like work to me at all. So when it gets tough, I can keep going because I love doing it. But if you don't love doing what you do, then as soon as it gets tough, you're going to quit. One little problem, you're going to give up. You're always going to look for plan C's. So I think that was I think that's why a lot of immigrants end up becoming successful in the country. I mean, if you take a look at the top CEOs of the top Fortune 500 companies, a lot of them, believe it or not, came from India, just like me. Pepsi CEO, MasterCard, Google, Microsoft, all these companies are run by them because we burned the boats when we got here. There's no turning back. There's no other option. We'll make this work. So I think that mindset helps. And, you don't need to be an immigrant for that. You could just treat yourself cultivating that mindset that I'm not going to look for a way out. I'm not going to look for an easy way out. There is no other way. This is the way. And you do everything needs to be done. And you don't move on to a next plan until you've tried every single thing on this first plan. So that's kind of what I did over here. And my business partner now, who's actually my mentor, he taught me how to trade the stock market and all of that. And then I called him in 2015 when his company that he was working at got bought out. So I called him and said, hey, I'm your case study right here. Why don't you and I start something? I'm in the country now. You taught me how to trade. I'm successful. Perfect case study. Why don't we teach other people how to do the same thing? That's how the business started. So again, not a lack of resources, is resourcefulness. Right? Some people might think, but if I ask them, why would he start a business with me? I'm just a student. I didn't think about any of that. I'm like, let's try, give it a go. And, now he's my business partner, and we've been running this business for 8 years.
Well, that's amazing, because I know that, a lot of times the immigrants, they come to America because it's a land of opportunity, as they say. And we Americans are spoiled. And we'll just put it that way. We're just spoiled. On many levels, we are, because we don't know what it's like to be in a third world country. Now, I went to Egypt and I saw something different. I've been to Mexico. I've been to some of the third world countries. And it was an eye-opener for me. Yes, I saw some beautiful tourist attractions and things like that, but I also got to know the people. And to me, the Egyptians were just an amazing people. I just absolutely... They're kind and they're friendly, and it's a big country, a lot of people. But I had to really stop and look at, we do have that. So when I know that I'm in the pits of my own pity party sometimes, and I have no money when I do have money, and then it's like, you have more than most people in the world have, and and you have to, it's like, yeah, I have to look like that because I'm dialed in. I'm not thinking about the right way. I have to get my thinking put back in alignment, because sometimes, especially, I think Americans are really bad about this, because we're so used to following the Joneses, and they have more than me, and I need to have the 3.2 kids and the white picket fence and all that craziness. That's what I was raised with, and I couldn't deal with that because it was too much. It was like, that is so not me. And so what I did is I went down a different road, which of course then my family thought something was wrong because I'm like, I'm going to go into business for myself. I'm going to do this. And they're like, no, you need to have like a job, something you hate. You show up every day and you get your retirement at the end of, at 65. And I'm like, I can't do that. I'll just commit suicide first before I do that. I mean, that was just how I was. And so I was different in that respect. And it was a struggle, but it was also the best thing I could have done because I started opening my mouth more. I started realizing not everybody was out to get me like I thought. Because people, I mean, on a whole, people are very nice. There's a lot of really good people. I mean, we just highlight, the crazies on the news for whatever reason to prove the dysfunction and keep us in fear and stuff like that. But part of this whole growth and what you did is that where your background is like, no, I'm burning the books. I have to do this. This is my life. And when I really started looking at that, this is my livelihood. This is how I want to live my life. And I'm going to burn the so-called pattern, the American pattern of the corporate life, because it wasn't for me. So who cares if I was singing a different song? That's part of who we are. What is your song and what is it that you're bringing? I mean, yes, some people want to live the corporate life, that style. That's great. But that wasn't me. And I shouldn't have to be punished for that. But it also was my greatest gift for myself of growing because I wasn't in the rut of life. Just like you came to America, you didn't get into the rough of the American culture. You were like, I'm going here and I'm going to do this. And I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get there one way or another. And that's my attitude. I have a business that I'm still working on getting off the ground. COVID just kicked its ass. And I've got some marketing people that we're going to be meeting with, and we're going to just do a new relaunch, so to speak, to get this company back up and running. And it's like, because I can't just let it go. I've put too many years into making something work. And it is that persistence. And they're like, we're going to keep you with it. We're going to help you with your mindset because, yeah, you're kind of burned out on your company, but we're going to keep that mindset going. And we're going to bring in new things for you to just bring that excitement back. Because I think part of that is just the excitement, having that childlike attitude of, well, if this isn't working, well, what about this? What if we try this? I mean, how many times did it take Edison before he discovered the light bulb? All he did is found out all the ways it didn't work. So it's changed how you think about things. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that you look at is you changed how you had a different perspective where we in America, we just think there's this entitlement thing going on anyways in this country that's really bad. Makes me crazy because you're never going to get what you want with that attitude because nobody owes you anything ever under any circumstance. And good luck if you think that. Because my attitude is if you think you're that entitled, put your head in the phone, go live with mom and dad and let them live, and live with them until they die, because that's about the extent of the entitlement you're going to get. And that's how I feel about it. Because you worked your ass off to get over here. So yeah, could you have resentments about what we're doing with our borders right now? Yeah, but you did it the right way. And that's a sense of pride. That is something that you did. You felt like you were worthy and deserving. You weren't entitled to that, but you wanted it and you worked for it. That's how we're supposed to be in life. What do we want? And we work for it. So I just think it's really admirable of what you've done and how you positioned yourself and how you took the resources that you had available instead of crying that, oh, nobody loves me, nobody gives me any money, and then it's just like you just went out and found it. And I do the same thing. I can sit there and say, yeah, money's a problem, and money's never a problem, ever, ever, ever. Bob Proctor said that, and he is so right on the money. If you want it, you will find the money. Always, always. It's if you want it bad enough. How badly do you want this?
Right. And even in the ancient, like the Toltec traditions, they talk about like the assemblage point. So like changing the lens that you're looking at life from and the things that you're looking at from, and shifting your assemblage point and looking at it from a different perspective. I think it's kind of a lost art. People are so emotional these days. Oh, I'm offended, I'm this, I'm that. And they're stuck in their own perspective, their own assemblage point, and they don't have the ability. It almost feels like they've lost the ability to step over here and look at it from a different lens, because there's never black or white. It's always truth, always lies somewhere in the middle. So I think you have to be able to be critical and look at things from both sides. And that's what Stanford professor Carol Dweck talks about in her book Growth Mindset, about don't focus on what's wrong or what's lacking. What are you going to do about it? What's the next step? What's the next thing we could do? Who can I chat with? So I mean, if you're not successful in money or business right now and you're having lunch or dinner by yourself, you're wasting that time, right? Go have lunch with somebody else. Go have dinner with somebody else. Go to a WeWork. There's tons of people running a business there. Go have coffee there, right? Like there's a lot of things you can do even when you don't have resources. So I think that's the art people need to have, is shift of perspective of your assemblage point and looking at things from a different perspective. Because it's very easy, if we're a consultant to somebody, it's very easy for us to tell other people what to do. But when it comes to ourselves, we play the victim card and we don't do what we tell other people to do. So it's like looking at it from a third perspective and saying, be your own consultant, like advise your life and guide it in the right direction. And kind of think about it like the drift. There's a boat in the water, right? And if the boat is, let's say, nobody's operating that boat, the boat's just going to drift, right? It's just going to go wherever it wants to go. It might go left, it might go right. You're not going to be able to control it. It's just going to drift wherever it wants to go. That's what our life is. Our life is just a drift. It'll just keep drifting away until you take control and steer it in the direction that you want it to go.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's exactly right. That's when I say that people are in the rut. That's the rut. They just get up, they go to work, they come home, they do whatever, watch TV, drink, do drugs, whatever. They're not really living life. They're not experiencing life. And we're here to experience life. And that's part of our own personal self-growth and development. Well, we're going to take a quick break from our sponsors. And when we come back, we will learn a little bit more of how you guys can get in touch with Anmol to purchase his book or whatever else he does.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. We discover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. And this is Kathleen Flanagan, your host. And we are streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. And we are here talking to Anmol Singh about the 10 success keys to making it in life. So Anmol, tell us how the listeners can get a hold of you or to purchase your book.
Yeah, definitely. So for the book, it's called Prepping for Success, 10 Keys for Making It in Life. It's available Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, anywhere else. You can learn more about it on preppingforsuccess.com. And if trading or investing is something you're curious about or interested in, then livetraders.com is where you can learn more about this. Tons of free resources. And when you sign up, you get a free course, video course that I personally created. That'll give you an insight. And maybe you watch it and you realize, oh, this is not for me. And that's totally fine. But that's where you could do that. Touch base with me. Instagram or Twitter is where I'm the most active. And my username on both of those is Delta90, DELTA-NINETY. Don't ask me why. I had it a long time ago, and I just didn't change it.
No, well, that's really good. I mean, my partner's very interested in trading. He's been taking courses and things along those lines. So I'm definitely going to let him know about your product because he just has a fascination for it, and he's been studying off and on and trying to get it up and running, and he just hasn't quite got there fully yet because once you start putting in your own money, it gets very frightening very quickly.
Yeah,
So
totally.
you know yeah, so I think if, and I know he's talked about looking for mentors as well, so I definitely let him know that. But I want to
Yeah, I'd be
thank you
happy.
so much. Yeah, no, really. I just want to thank you so much for being here. I'm really grateful that you reached out, and you're just a bright shining star in this world as far as I'm concerned. Of just, you just have this magnificent light that you're just sending out there to help people to grow and evolve because you learned how to do that on your own, and you took some great strides by coming to the United States, and you flourished in the United States. And even when it looks so dark and hard to do, you did it anyways, So, I mean, you just kind of blew up all the excuses that anybody could ever have is you blew them up. So thank you so much for that because you're an inspiration to me of just keep moving forward and just keep staying dialed in because it will happen and it always does. Just get out of
No, I
your own
appreciate
way.
that. Appreciate that. Thanks for having me as well. It was really good chatting with you.
It was nice chatting with you too. Well, I just want to let everybody know that if you want to learn more about Anmol, then on podcast.kathleenmflanagan.com, we'll have a guest page there so you can watch the episode, and we'll have more of his contact information there for you. So if you missed it on the show, you'll be able to get more information from him on the guest page on that website. And then also I have all my services that are listed on the kathleenmflanagan.com site as far as what I'm offering, the services that I'm offering, my books, Dancing Souls, The Journey of an Awakening Spirit, The Call, and The Dark Night of the Soul are there, as well as on Amazon.com. We are still offering discounts at awakeningspirit.com and grandmasnaturalremedies.net with just entering Brave TV to receive discounts on the products. So if you're interested in that. And I also just want to say thank you for listening, taking the time to listen and talk to us and share that we have the opportunity to share with you. And I would really appreciate it if you know of anybody who you think this could help to just let them know and share the show with them. And feel free to reach out and let me know if there's a topic in particular that you would like to learn more about or discuss. I'm more than willing to do this because the show is about you, and I want you to be able to have that opportunity to address whatever your concerns are. So I want to just say thank you so much for watching. We are streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host. Oh, and next week, oh well, I'm sorry. I have a guest coming next week, and I don't have them right in front of me. But anyways, from my heart to yours, I just hope you all have a fabulous week, and thank you for watching.
This has been the journey of an awakening spirit with your host, Kathleen Flanagan. Join Kathleen each week as she will inspire and empower all those who are drawn to her to live their highest vision in the context of love and joy. Right here Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.